I was on the floor. I was about 6 rows back, and actually Logan Paul walked through the crowd right by where I was sitting, and he was a babyface when he walked in through the crowd. He was slapping hands and smiling and everything. But now Brock Lesnar, we're booing him because he's the antagonist in this situation more than not even that Dom Heat's not go away heat, but just that nasty, bratty. No, it was a different kind of heat.
It's a fun kind of heat. It's SummerSlam weekend. WWE appears to be red hot in almost every metric measurable, and tonight in Houston, Monday Night Raw was no different. A sellout crowd, and actually a turnaway crowd. People were actually turned away at the box office who showed up to try to get a ticket to the event. Nearly 13,000 tickets sold, seats filled to the last row. On tonight's Wade Keller Pro Wrestling post-show that we live stream starting about 5 minutes after Raw. We do the same thing after Dynamite, SmackDown, and Collision. So join us, WadeKellerPostShow.com, if you want to find the show, or look for the direct link to the live stream in my TV reports at PWTorch.com every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. And tonight we had 2 on-site correspondents. We're going to play for you the conversation with the first one. You can download the full podcast, and just past the 1 hour mark, you can hear Chris from Houston give his version of events and also some details on the dark matches, and Bronson Reed in particular getting a good response before Raw went on the air. People were into him. So we had 2 of them. We're going to bring you the first one here. And Jarvis attended the show and immediately talked about how much bigger the crowd was than the last time and really relayed how hot the product seems. You know, Houston's a major market. It's a good market for WWE. It's a bit of a measuring stick when they do this well, and it's just happening everywhere they go. WWE's peaking at the right time going into Saturday night. I expect we're going to get a press release next week bragging about SummerSlam, breaking records for SummerSlam in a lot of ways when it comes to streaming and how much up it is over last year from Peacock and that kind of thing. I think they're doing a really good job, and the crowd is into what they're doing. So we talked to Jarvis about that. He's in the building. He's seeing Dominik get booed. He's talking about the reaction that Cody got, the ring entrances. I asked about how Cody's ring entrance versus Sammy's versus Seth's compared. And he talked about things that happened off air and what they do to entertain the fans. So let's throw to that. Again, you can subscribe to our show and hear the whole show. We had live caller and email input throughout the show on other topics too, and really talked about how Raw is no longer a slog to get through. It's a 3-hour show, and this is the most I've enjoyed Raw in a while in terms of it breezing by. And I talk late in this clip about the joy of performance that wrestlers seem to be feeling in what they're doing. It just feels like everybody's kind of having fun and trying to rise to the occasion and compete with each other in a good way. So let's get to that. If you want to hear the show, if you want to download our full podcast, search Wade Keller on your podcast app, and you'll be able to subscribe to the red logo show that are our post shows, and then also the blue logo show, which is our regular podcast. It's not the post show live call-in format. Tomorrow, for most of you today, Tuesday, August 1st, Jason Powell from ProWrestling.net will be my co-host, and we're going to cover a broad array of topics, including previewing SummerSlam and talking about All In. And also, how will Collision be affected by going head-to-head with SummerSlam? A lot to talk about with Jason tomorrow. If you have questions for our main show, the flagship on the Wade Keller Pro Wrestling Podcast, you can send questions right now or topics to wadekellerpodcast@pwtorch.com. Let us know you saw me on YouTube, and that's what prompted you. And then you can hear the show, links at pwtorch.com, or subscribe searching Wade Keller. On to our on-site correspondent discussion. And by the way, the other voice you hear is Nate Lindberg. He is the co-host with me on tonight's Raw Post Show. He also is a co-host of our PWT Talks NXT podcast, which is part of the PW Torch Daily Cast lineup. And you can become a PW Torch Daily Cast subscriber for free on your podcast app by searching PW Torch. All right, so here we go with our snippet from tonight's show. Up next, we're headed to Houston. Jarvis, cool. Thank you for calling. We're glad we got an on-site correspondent. How was the show? What was the experience like?
It was great. It was great. It was nice to see the Toyota Center full to the rafters. I can remember going a couple years ago, right before the pandemic, and you had sections tarped off and things like that. But it was a packed house. It was really nice. The crowd was full of energy. Definitely ready for SummerSlam. Definitely ready for everything that the guys brought tonight. It was a great show.
When you say when the building was full, like how full was it? Was it really the last row around the whole upper deck was full, or were there some scattered seats maybe behind the hard cam in the upper deck?
No, it was completely full. Like I said, I remember 3-4 years ago it was tarped off. Even some of the lower levels being tarped off at a Raw show I went to several years ago. But no, it was full. They were actually turning away people at the box office.
That's amazing.
Oh, wow.
That's amazing. I mean, it's when wrestling gets that hot, and you can tell by the crowd reactions, people are into this product right now. And, I'm watching it, and I'm just...
Absolutely.
I'm sick going, this is WWE clicking right now. I know earlier today, WrestleTix had the number at almost 13,000 tickets distributed, and almost a sellout. Like, they only had 7 seats left as of this afternoon, and they outdrew the last time they were there for Raw on August 1st last year. They drew 10,445. It's a good city for them. They didn't burn it out, but yeah, I mean, when you're turning away fans, that's a good feeling if you're a wrestling company and the wrestlers on the show. So
absolutely. So
Jarvis, you got to experience Dominik. Not necessarily the top item of this show. He's been the top story on some recent shows. What was it like to be in a building with that kind of heel heat? We talk about Logan being a good punk heel. Dominik is a good punk heel too in a different way. Talk about the crowd reaction for him.
Oh, they were ready the minute Judgment Day walked out. You could just feel they were ready for Dom. I will say, Logan Paul's heat was on par with Dom's heat. It's just they actually let Logan talk, but the actual boos, and maybe it was because he came out first. I mean, he got some monster heat, but no, Dom is they've got something special with Dom, with the heat that he's drawing and the way that it almost feels like the crowd, some of the people in the crowd came with intention just to boo him. Like that was, you're like, I'm here to see Cody, I'm here to see Brock Lesnar, I'm here to boo Dominik Mysterio. And then, him, the way he has learned to blend in with it and make it part of his gimmick has been really working for him. And then them finding a way to put gold on him to make him this bratty champion along the way. Like it's brilliant. And it's great. It's really great television. And, being in the building, sometimes, when Dom first started getting the heat, I'll be honest, I know that the WWE was doing the tricks where they were piping in crowd noise and things like that. I wasn't sure, but I was in the mix. It was deafening. It's real heat. Everybody in the building is on their feet. And, it was crazy when Ciampa came out, the crowd went nuts. I mean, there was nothing. Nobody booed, nobody cheered. It was just like he walked out and everybody's just kept doing what they're doing, scrolling on their phones. But when Dom is out, everybody's on their feet, booing as loud as they possibly can.
Now, it's funny we talk about Dom and Logan Paul as great heel heat magnets, and Brock Lesnar was out there as a major heel. Did Brock Lesnar finish third? Or was it a different kind of heel heat, but intense and notable also?
It's definitely different. It's definitely different. But I was on the floor. I was about 6 rows back, and actually Logan Paul walked through the crowd right by where I was sitting, and he was a babyface when he walked in through the crowd. He was slapping hands and smiling and everything. But now Brock Lesnar, we're booing him because he's the antagonist in this situation more than not even that. Dom's heat's not go away heat, but just that nasty, bratty. No, it was a different kind of heat.
It's a fun kind of heat because I think people. I mean, there's kids who just think he's the worst ever, but I think adults see him as representing the worst ever in their lives, and they really love leaning into it. And then he's such a good foil for it. But yeah, I agree with you. It's not go away heat because I think people would be less apt to buy a ticket for a show Dominik's not on. And go away heat is I'm here despite you. And that's just not the case with Dominik.
Right. With Brock, it was there was even some scattered chants of one more time after he F5'd Cody. So again, it's that dichotomy to where it's like one way, everybody's kind of like wanting to boo him, but then it's like they're still excited to see, this legendary wrestler. We don't know how much longer we're going to see him, so it's still appreciating the greatness that we're seeing.
Nate, jump on in with a question for on-site correspondent Jarvis.
Yeah, so first off, very disappointed to hear that there was nobody standing for my man Tommaso Ciampa, because he is probably my favorite wrestler. But that's okay. That's okay. But no. So you're kind of sticking on the topic of reactions. When we were talking with Sergio, he mentioned that the reaction for Sami Zayn was not nearly as pronounced as it once was. And that's the way it at least came across on TV. Is that the way it came across in the building as well? Just not nearly as excited to see Sami as people once were, like during the Bloodline angle?
Yeah, he's cooled off so much, post Bloodline. He was such an integral part of everything that we're even seeing now in the Bloodline too. I think, after, just kind of fading into a tag team after being in the main event at Elimination Chamber with Roman and really tearing the house down, to just kind of fading into this is kind of like a step down, and he's kind of back to where he was. I think, with Kevin being out, now is a good time to, maybe have a tag team tournament and get Sami back hot as a singles act. I think he can get hot again, but he's got to be more of a singles act. I was hoping something maybe transpired with him and Kevin to where, like, Kevin, started getting jealous of the cheers and the crowd reaction that Sami was getting or something, and maybe turned, and that kind of, maybe spun into another feud to kind of keep Sami hot, but they just kept them as a tag team, and I think it cooled both of them off. And you're talking about Kevin Owens is main evented 2 WrestleManias in a row, and now he's just a tag team champion with Sami Zayn, and it's just, I think there's more that they could be doing. And I know with Roman's title reign, going on forever, that, hey, it's only so much you could do at the top of the card, and we're just now kind of incorporating another title, but you're talking about 2 guys that can, really have some drawing power, especially when you struck gold with Sami Zayn last year. And so to kind of, see him just get, I mean, the crowd cared about Sami, when he came out, but I mean, honestly, Seth was the more powerful reaction to that main event.
Yeah.
From a babyface reaction standpoint, and in terms of the entrance theme and the fans enjoying the entrance theme, you've got Seth, you have Cody. I agree. Like, I was feeling kind of bad for Sami because it's like Sami's song used to be the thing that everyone rocked out for, and then Seth comes out and it one-ups him. But talk about that. Like, the most enjoyable, one of the most enjoyable aspects of going to a WWE show for a lot of fans is the entrance themes and participating in them. Talk about experiencing that. Seth in particular, but man, people love that part of Cody's song where there's and even Sami, we got to hear his original music. Anything else jump out among those and or besides those, and talk about where you rank them?
No, I think the crowd was really on fire for the Cody one, but Cody had a serious entrance today. He wasn't in a suit. He was ready for war. He didn't do any of his normal, theatrics during the entrance, but of course the crowd did it all the times that we heard it. So I think that was the most anticipated, but Seth Rollins actually was able, he was in the participatory state where he was reacting with the crowd and everything. Actually, Becky Lynch got a pretty nice reaction during hers as well. Becky Lynch does an amazing job connecting with the fans. During the commercial break, she's kind of interacting with fans while she's in the ring waiting awkwardly for the commercial break to end. So she did a great job doing that. So she just has a special connection with the fans. So yeah, I would rank it. I think I was anticipating that Cody was going to have the entrance of the night, but again, he meant business. So I got to go with Seth, followed by Cody. Judgment Day, everybody was feeling Judgment Day's entrance as well. Of course, Rhea's the one that everybody's kind of like cheering, and then everybody's there to boo Dom out of the building. But when they come out, I mean, everybody's on their feet and they have everybody's attention. So They were pretty good. I thought, is it the Alpha Academy or whatever they are now?
Gable and
Otis,
Otis,
and Gable. Everybody was feeling that as well. So that was really cool to see. But yeah, I mean, there wasn't. I mean, even before the Raw, like everything was good. Like everybody was into everything except. I'm sorry, Nate, but they weren't into Ciampa. That was the only time the crowd was there.
Yeah, it's okay.
I was gonna ask about that because I was looking at the show and what happened, and I'm like, yeah, Ciampa seems like the one who would be sort of left out when we talk about baby faces getting really big reactions. Jarvis, talk about Maxine, and because first of all, the whole Gable or the whole Alpha Academy are wearing pink. We got Tiffany Stratton leaning into the whole Barbie thing too. WWE knows, the trend. I think we're going to change PLUtorch.com's colors to pink, see if we can gain some traction and seem like we're riding a wave. But the reaction to Maxine seems exactly what they're looking for. And we got an email on this, and I'm sort of getting ahead of things a little bit when I say this, but she doesn't need to be good. She just needs to look like she's shocked that she's passable. Like the bar is so low.
Absolutely.
Her gimmick is I'm new and I don't know if I can do anything. So when she does something, even when it's a clumsy arm drag, she looks like, oh my God, I did it. And it seems like the crowd is the goodwill that WWE has with the crowd right now is so strong. And it's transferring to this also. Talk about the buzz in the building for her and in particular.
Yeah, it was everybody in the crowd was like, it's like they had never seen, either woman wrestle. So they were, it was exciting and kind of like, who's going to win this match? And, Valhalla seemed, more like the more menacing one. And so, it was like, okay, are you going to keep the heat on the Viking Raiders side? Or are you going to get this, to your point, Wade, this kind of like, oh my gosh, I did it kind of, win from her. And that's what they got. And, the crowd ate it up. That's the one thing I can say. WWE has really made everything feel important. To even this, a couple years ago, this whole thing would be a joke. It would be an afterthought. It'd be a wrestling segment, but it was great. I mean, I can remember the Viking Rules match a couple weeks ago. That was awesome. But 3 years ago, that thing would have been absolute drizzling shits if it would. Sorry, I'm sorry to cuss on your pod, Wade, but but they've done such a good job of building everybody up and making them feel like they should be on our television to where everything felt good. And yeah, I mean, I was into her. I'm like, this is awesome. And it really shouldn't be, but it was. And then for it to end up being the match with Gunther and Gable, that ended up being great. Just everything is important.
The Gable-Gunther match also seemed to work, and it had two segments to it. Gunther sort of methodically, overconfidently taking his time, beating down Chad Gable, not much other than one ankle lock hope spot from Gable. And then the second phase was more competitive, near falls. Talk about being in the building for that and the ebb and flow of the match, and if they had the crowd the whole way or they had to earn them as they went.
No, they had the crowd the entire way. The crowd was heavily going for Gable to be able to last the 5 minutes, and he did. And I think we all thought he was going to pass out when he had him in the $1 Million Dream looking thing. And but no, and then it was kind of awkward that the match just all of a sudden continued, because it felt like now obviously we don't get the benefit of commentary. Maybe there's some context to it, but it just kind of felt like Gunther said, "This match isn't over. We're going to continue." And then it continued. And why does he get that power to make the match continue? You said that he couldn't last 5 minutes. He lasted the 5 minutes. So now why do you get your win back, or what have you? I feel like that should have been a storyline that should have carried over after SummerSlam, provided Gunther beats Drew. But whatever, it worked. It was still a great match. The crowd was into it virtually the entire time. There were some hope spots that looked like Gable might upset him. And so those were good. And, Gable's so freaking good in the ring that, he can keep your attention very easily. He's very entertaining. He's definitely that, Diet Kurt Angle.
You mentioned Becky kind of entertained the crowd during the break. Any other off-air observations before the show, during commercial breaks, after the show that you want to share with us?
WWE is amazing at pushing WWE. So every break, they are selling you something. Hey, we got this new T-shirt. They even showed the trailer to that Undertaker New Day movie that's on Netflix. It's been on Netflix since like 2020. They pushed that. Whatever they're selling, they're pushing it. They let us know that they were coming back to Houston in December for a show, and that since we're in the building, we get the special pre-sale code and we can get our tickets tonight. So that was cool. They did the DX Suck It Cam. They did a You Can't See Me John Cena cam. They did a dance cam. Sami Zayn actually entertained us a little bit as well. He was dancing to the SummerSlam theme song while we were waiting. Becky did her thing. That was about it. But yeah, it was a lot of, hey, buy this. Hey, don't forget to watch Cody Rhodes on Peacock. Hey, don't forget Undertaker's still on Netflix. Hey, don't forget this. Hey, we got tickets, so buy them after the show. They're masters at promoting. So that's what they did.
Talk about Trish Stratus and how effective she was on the microphone, because I've become a fan of her mic work. I thought as a babyface, it just wasn't working, and as a heel, I think she's having fun out there. It's kind of like Dominik. Yeah,
she is amazing. She is amazing. Oh my God, she got nuclear heat when she dropped the Astros line, because that's something that's near and dear to us Astros fans.
Yep.
When you talk about you don't see like the Astros, we take in Houston. Yeah, we take that one real personally. So that got her nuclear heat. And yeah, you're right. She's absolutely enjoying it. She's doing the best mic work of her career probably at this age. And I thought that her and Becky were going to fight at SummerSlam, but I guess they're waiting to Canada. So it's kind of weird. I was like, so we're going to get this match tonight. And that was a little weird, but I'm never going to complain about seeing Trish Stratus.
Nate, what have you thought of Trish, by the way? Since you turned heel, Nate.
So growing up in the Attitude Era, I'm a huge fan of Trish Stratus. In everything she's done for the business and everything. But since turning heel, I think she's I think this is like some of the best work she's done, like potentially in her career. The heel work has been great. I thought her work on the mic tonight was fantastic. I remember back to 20 years ago, on the mic, she wasn't bad, but she was never like, The Rock or anything like that on the mic. But yeah, overall, since turning heel, she's been really effective. I love the fact that she's brought back the nose. Even though I believe it's a real broken nose, but the nose mask. I remember she was in an angle wearing that same type of a nose mask years and years ago. So I thought that was kind of that was fun. Just kind of a bit of a throwback for people that remember it. But yeah, like I said, overall, she's been killing it as a heel.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed. She's just so snide and like I said, just I think having fun in this role that she's been in. She's embracing it, yeah. And no one ever accused her of being The Rock, that's for sure. And I don't think anyone still will. But I just feel like everybody is inspiring everybody else right now to be better. There's just a sense of things are going well, and it seems like everybody's kind of having fun. Performing, and the joy of performance is such a big thing when it comes to enjoying professional wrestling. Is everybody like enjoying their job, and really seeming into just enjoying what they're doing, because you don't want to watch a pastime and you think people are resenting their job or not having fun. So even the heels look like they're having fun doing what they're doing, even if you do are inspired to see them lose, even in the process. So we were having a little phone connection with Jarvis, and he did drop off. So if maybe Jarvis will call back, although I think we kind of got most of what we were looking for information-wise from him. So we appreciate Jarvis. You can be an on-site correspondent, by the way, on this show, just like Jarvis was. Email me ahead of time if you can, wadekellerpodcast@pwtorch.com, and put the name of the city in the subject line and the date. That helps us stay organized a little bit. And we'll be in touch with you and set things up. So yeah, when I talk to these on-site correspondents, I mean, pre-COVID especially, our correspondents would talk about what a slog it was to feel like a prop in a crowd for a 3-hour Raw, and they were exhausted and they didn't know if they would go again. And the pace of the show and the commercial breaks and the awkwardness of wrestlers standing in the ring, it wasn't a good vibe when you would attend WWE shows pre-COVID, and WWE's really cleaned that up. And they found a way to just, one, the shows are hotter, the characters are hotter, the storylines are hotter, and the crowds are bigger and more enthusiastic, and that helps. But they've just made the pace of the shows a more pleasant experience, and that's paying off with these great ticket sales and sellout crowds. So it's fun talking to these on-site correspondents. And as I noted on the clip, if you attend Raw, Dynamite, SmackDown, or Collision, you can be an on-site correspondent on the Wade Keller Pro Wrestling Post Show. Just send an email to wadekellerpodcast@pwtorch.com. That's wadekellerpodcast@pwtorch.com. Put the name of the city and the date and say you want to be an on-site correspondent, and we can bring you on the show after you attend, and you can talk to us like Jarvis did. All right, so that'll do it. Check out our website, pwtorch.com, for articles that I write, news, editorial, live TV, and pay-per-view coverage. Join us Saturday night for SummerSlam coverage. We will also hopefully be having live Collision coverage. I'll be watching SummerSlam, but we'll have guest coverage of Collision also. And just check us out every day. We've got cool flashbacks from 10, 15, 20 years ago. We've got great archives since we started back in 1999. We have so many contemporaneous reports on things that were happening in previous eras. And on a regular basis, we publish some of the Raw reports from 20 years ago or 15 years ago. It's fun to go through those. Same thing with WWE house shows and TNA and everything else that was going on then. So there's a reason to make PW Torch part of your daily stop when you're looking for your wrestling news and commentary and nostalgia fix. That's pwtorch.com. All right, thanks everybody for joining me today, and until next time, Wade Keller thanking you for checking out our YouTube video here, and of course, like this video, subscribe to us, hit the bell if you want to be notified when we put up new videos. And as always, and I did this with our new show from over the weekend where it was about Dave Meltzer's star ratings, and we're getting a lot of feedback on that. And I've been interacting with people in the comments area. I'll do the same thing here. Are you going to WWE shows? Are you more eager to go to WWE shows now than you were a few years ago? If so, what's the key reason? To boo Dominik? To be part of singing Seth Rollins' song? To see Cody Rhodes in person? To be present? To acknowledge Roman Reigns? Is it Rhea Ripley and the Judgment Day? Tell me what your main reason would be that would get you to spend money and your time to go to a WWE show. What would be the main incentive at this point? And maybe it's just because the product feels hot and you want to be part of the crowd in person. All right, so there we go. I'll see you in the comments area. Thanks, everybody.